Hey everyone, and welcome back to the channel. Let me ask you a question. How many original colonies were there? 13, right? And what was the 14th state to join the Union? You said Vermont? You're correct. But what if I told you there was another state, a lost state, that almost became number 14? A state named Franklin. Today, we are rediving into one of the most fascinating and forgotten chapters of American history, the rise and fall of the state of Franklin. So, where did this mysterious state come from? Our story begins right after the American Revolution in the 1780s. The brand new United States was broke, and the state of North Carolina had a brilliant idea to pay off its war debts to the federal government. They decided to cede their western lands, what we now know as eastern Tennessee, to the Continental Congress. The people living there, however, were not thrilled. They were pioneers, living on the frontier, constantly dealing with threats and feeling completely neglected by the North Carolina government, which was hundreds of miles away across the Appalachian Mountains. They felt abandoned. So, what did these tough, independent frontiersmen do? They took matters into their own hands. In 1784, delegates from several counties in the region gathered and declared their independence from North Carolina. They drafted a constitution and formed their own government. They even chose a name for their new state, Franklin, in honor of the one and only Benjamin Franklin, hoping to win his support. They elected a governor, a Revolutionary War hero named John Sevier, and set up their own courts and capital. For all intents and purposes, the state of Franklin was a real, functioning government. They were ready to be the 14th star on the American flag. But here's where the plot thickens. Before Congress could even act on Franklin's petition for statehood, North Carolina had a change of heart. They realized the land they'd given away was actually pretty valuable, so they repealed the Cession Act and tried to reclaim control. This created a bizarre and chaotic situation. For about 4 years, two governments were operating in the same territory. You had Franklin officials and North Carolina officials, both trying to collect taxes, hold court, and enforce laws. You can imagine the confusion. Some people paid taxes to Franklin, some to North Carolina, and some, smartly, to neither. Tensions escalated, leading to armed standoffs and even a small-scale conflict known as the Battle of Franklin. So why did Franklin ultimately fail? It was a perfect storm of problems. Internally, the state was divided. Not everyone was on board with independence, and loyalty was split. Externally, they lacked the political clout they needed. They desperately tried to get the required 2/3 majority in the Continental Congress to be recognized as a state, but they fell just short. 7 states voted yes, but they needed 9. Political rivalries and concerns about setting a precedent for other territories to break away worked against them. Even their namesake, Benjamin Franklin, advised them to reconcile with North Carolina. Without federal recognition and facing constant pressure from North Carolina, the dream began to crumble. By 1789, the state of Franklin had collapsed. Governor John Sevier was briefly arrested for treason by North Carolina, though he was quickly pardoned and later became the first governor of Tennessee. North Carolina once again ceded the land to the federal government. And in 1796, the territory officially became the state of Tennessee. The revolutionary dream of Franklin faded into history, becoming a strange footnote in the story of America's westward expansion. It serves as a powerful reminder of the turbulent and uncertain years of the early republic, a time when the map of the United States was still being drawn. So, the next time you look at a map of the U.S., remember the state that almost was. It's a fascinating story of rebellion, ambition, and the complex politics of building a nation. What do you think? Should Franklin have been the 14th state? Let me know your thoughts in the comments below. Thanks for watching, and if you enjoyed this dive into forgotten history, be sure to like and subscribe for more. See you next time.